some interferences with people talking in your frequency. Then again, durability is also a key. Usually intercom systems are way more resistant, way more professional, way more constructed in way more resistant material. And finally, encrypted communications, which means that professional wireless intercom systems usually come with some sort of encryption so that nobody can tune in your frequency and listen what you are talking about. This is why professional intercom systems are really good for security applications, for example, because nobody can tune in and listen to what you are talking in your security team, for example. Okay. Something really important too is that intercom systems can be used in very loud environments. Why did I place an asterisk here? Well, I placed it here because, of course, you can use intercom systems in noisy environments if you choose the right model of headset. Okay, there are many types of headsets. There are closed ones, more open ones, which do not insulate that much. Which do not isolate you that much from the noise in the environment. But if you select the proper model of headset, then you will be able to work in very loud environments, which is also a huge difference when compared to walkie-talkies, in which you basically cannot talk through them when the ambience is real loud. Okay, so I would say that this is one of the most important things for today, talking about the events industry and entertainment world. Being able to use intercom systems in noisy environments is crucial. Okay, so again, intercom versus walkies. Basically, I wanted to explain with this idea that this is a Ford Fiesta. This is a Ford Fiesta rally and the street version. Basically, intercom and walkies are like this. They do exactly the same things. They are same type of device. They both pose a combination option, but of course, you would never run a rally with a street Ford Fiesta, and you probably wouldn't go driving down the street to do groceries with a rally car. So with intercom and walkie-talkies is the same. Both intercom and walkie-talkies are valid options. They are both useful in their own specific tasks, but you should always try to know them. You should always know them and know in which applications intercom is good and walkie-talkies are good, just to select what you are going to use for a specific application. So both are valid communication devices, and you should just know that some of them are better and more reliable, and some of them are just limited to certain not so relevant tasks, such as walkie-talkies, for example. So this is the idea. Know your tools, okay? Know your tools and know what you use them for. Both intercom systems and walkie-talkies are useful tools that an engineer must know, okay? They can work together, even you can connect them. So basically, Altair systems can be connected to some walkie-talkies brands using one of our interfaces. And it's important to know their advantages. For example, walkie-talkies, big advantage, it's cheap. Big disadvantage, you can have some interference use problems. You cannot use it in load environments. So it's just a matter of knowing both tools and deciding what's better for each specific application. That's the idea. And walkie-talkies can sometimes be a really good backup for an intercom system. Okay, so we will be talking about this later, but remember that walkie-talkies can be a good backup for an intercom system. Mostly, again, go back and talking about what a professional intercom system is. Basically, in the end, the big difference is reliability. When you purchase and when you trust a brand, a professional intercom brand with your money, actually what you're paying is reliability. You are paying to not have problems, okay? So basically, intercom systems solve a lot of problems which are present when using walkie-talkies and which are present when using a professional intercom. So in the end, it's all about reliability. So I did this simple drawing with 3 axes just to illustrate this walkie-talkies and intercom coexistence, okay? So basically, in this axis, we would have the frequency of the communication, which means how much do you use the communication channel, how much do you need to talk, and basically how much time the communication channel is occupied. Then time and precision from minus to plus, which means that how important is that all the events that are being discussed over the communication line, how accurate must they be? Okay, and so for example, if I'm talking through my intercom system, and I tell some actor that he has to go on stage at a theater, that must happen immediately when I say it. Okay, so in this case, that would be here. That would be a plus. Very important that that event takes place exactly at the right time. And then here in this axis, we have environment noise. Okay, so from very noisy to almost not noisy. So these have values. Okay, this is just an abstract image. But here in this purple area, we could find some applications in which walkie-talkies would be good. So a communication need, which is not that necessary. I mean, when, for example, we are going to use a communication device just to talk sometimes, to say something to a colleague, but the communication is not that frequent, and the timing precision is not that important, and the environment noise is not that loud, you could be using perfectly a walkie-talkie. Here, a zookeeper. Okay, the zookeeper must do some tasks every day, but the timing precision is not that high. He has to go and feed the animals, and he has to go and clean some cages. But the timing is not that accurate. He can do that over the day. Okay, the environment noise is very quiet. Okay, because he's working in open field, in open air, open space, and the frequency of the communications is not that high. They are just talking to each other from time to time. On the opposite side, we have the production manager of an electronic music festival. Timing is crucial. Okay, so it's really high. Environmental noise is also really high, and the frequency of communications is really high. So basically, that's the idea, that walkie-talkies and intercom systems can coexist, and actually they do. Well, going to the types of intercom system, okay, this could take hours, so I'm going to make it really quick, really simple, and I'm not going to get into details. Basically, we are going to be talking today about a party line system. Party line systems are systems in which we have a bunch of colleagues, a bunch of professionals in the same team, in the same channel, and they all listen to and talk to each other. Okay, that in comparison to a matrix system, which is something way more flexible, which is usually used for fixed installation, which allows to make private calls and different applications and different functions. But in this case today, we're going to be talking about party line systems, okay? And also IP-based, this is based on Ethernet versus analog. Today we are going to be talking about analog, but just with this simple image, I want you to know that there are several types of intercom systems, and you should get to know them and study a little bit what you need before purchasing anything, okay? And there are systems which are more suitable for fixed applications, and there are other systems which are better for live events. Today we are going to be focusing ourselves live events, and we are going to be focusing on products which are good for live events, okay? So, for example, a device, an IP-based device. This is some example of a device that we would use in a system, but again, this is not the case today. Okay, today we are going to talk about this. We're going to be talking about wireless intercoms. This is a wireless base station. Here you see the antennas, and we are also going to be talking about wire cable-based intercom systems. Okay, this is the base station, and this would be the personal belt pack that the user would have attached to his belt to communicate. Okay, usually we have a headset connected to the belt pack, and in the base station we have a user who will be using another head connected here, or as a gooseneck microphone with a speaker, if his model of base station includes these functions. Okay, so to explain the matrix concept that we were talking about before, basically, so that you understand what is it, although I insist we are not going to be talking about this today. Basically, a matrix concept works this way. We have columns, and we have rows, and we have here 4 users who are Red, Mike, Peter, and Mary, and we have 4 communication channels: production, audio, lights, and management. So in this case, in this image, we have said that Mary is going to be part of the management channel, Peter is going to be a part of the production channel, and Mike is going to be part of the audio channel, and Rachel is going to be part of the lights channel. Okay, but the good thing about the matrix is that it's very flexible, and it offers you to allocate several users in several channels. For example, this is just a very simple example of the capabilities that a matrix offers. For example, in this case, H would be in both production and lights channels, and Peter would be in both production and management channels. Okay, but forget about this, because we are not going to be talking about that much today. We are going to be talking about party line, as I said, party line, and I'm going to explain first of all the concept of party line. Okay, you know, the name comes from back in the days. I was delayed 80s or something like that, when you could call a telephone number and you would be talking to a lot of people randomly just to have fun. Okay, like to chat. Okay, so that's the idea. That's the idea. The concept of party line. This would be a table-based example. Is the following: we have a base station. Okay, this would be the base station, which is like the core of the system, and it also includes the power supply for all the system. Okay, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 users, all of them with their belts connected via cable. So in this case, in a party line system, in an intercom system based on party line concept, all these users would be talking to each other. So this user can talk to this one, this user can talk to this one, but anytime any of them says something, all of them are going to listen to what he's saying. Okay, so the privacy in party line mode is not the strong point. Okay, it's more a system of working which is based on collaboration of the different workers in the same team. Okay, and here we have a dual channel, A and B, party line. Those are the members of A, and these are the members of channel A. Okay, they can communicate with each other, but they cannot communicate with B, and B users can communicate between them, but they cannot communicate with the A team. Okay, I'm going to just skip this because it's complicated and we do not have time for that. So big question: why do I need an intercom system? This is a crucial question. Well, first of all, intercom systems provide safety. Okay, which is crucial for events with pyrotechnics. Also, they are very important if something bad happens for evacuation. They just make evacuation way easier. They are good for the mounting and disassembly period in which we are trying with electrical. We are doing some tests with lights. We have people who are going under the stage, over the stage, climbing up trusses. So it's really accurate communication between all the members. Really helps prevent accidents. So safety, it's an important reason why to have an intercom system. Second, and what I believe is the most important, basically an intercom system multiplies your options, exponentially. It just makes possible to do some sort of events which wouldn't be possible without an intercom system. Okay, and now we will see an example of that. And efficiency, money and time. Intercom systems make your workflow way faster and way more accurate, and that in the end saves you money and time. And I'm going to explain this with an example. Here you see an image of a movie called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. This was shot actually in Spain by the end of the 50s or the early 1960s. So here you see this scene in which a bridge is blown up. Okay, what happened in this movie is that actually they had to blow up the bridge twice. This bridge was built specifically for the movie. So in the first time they blew it up, they were not recording due to a mistake in the communication. They didn't have intercom systems by the time, and they were just using like a white t-shirt, and when lowering it down, a member of the crew should explode should detonate the bridge. But of course, cameras should be on, but they weren't due, again, as I am explaining, to a bad communication. Of course, that wouldn't have happened with an intercom system. And in the end, in this story, what happened is that they had to rebuild the bridge again, and they get to shot the scene properly. But it's a good example of why you need an intercom system to maximize your money and to save time. In this case, they wasted millions in money and tons of times, like 3 or 4 weeks in time. And talking about what I was mentioning before about how intercom systems make possible some events which are just not possible without them. This is, for example, the opening ceremony of the Olympics. I believe this is London, but I don't remember the year. But basically, the idea that I want to transmit is that this kind of event, it's impossible to conduct without an intercom system. Probably in this event, you have over, let's say, 20 stage managers, maybe over 300 professionals. You have crowd management, you have lighting, you have pyrotechnics, you have security, you have lights. No, you not only have an intercom system, but you have like maybe 20 channels of different teams, different communication channels for this intercom system. So of course, this is plain and simply impossible to conduct without an intercom system. So if you are conducting big events, if you are aiming high, you need an intercom system for sure. Okay. Again, going back to the example that I used for a stage manager in classic theater, this would be something related to this image that we have just seen. Okay, so here the time is very accurate, that's why it's here. And again, the frequency of the communication is high, and that's why this would be intercom usage area and not walkie-talkie, which is purple. Okay. So we are going to talk about typical uses in the event industry. You probably already know this, but just as a reminder, production crews at music festivals or corporate events or at the theater or at circus, then sound, light, and machinery crews, live video production, and security. This would be as far as I can recall, I would say this is the main, this summarizes pretty well the main applications of intercom systems in the event industry. Okay, production crews, sound, light, machinery crews, live video production, and security. More or less, that would be it. Okay, and now we're going to see Altair wired intercom devices. Okay, basically, as I explained before, we are going to be talking always about party line concepts. Okay, in this case, we see a base station, which is 4 channels, which means that it can create 4 separate party lines, 4 separate communication groups. Okay, from A, we could take a line of up to, let's say, 6, 10 belt packs. From B, the same, we could take a line of up to 5, 6 belt packs again, then C, and then D. So we can create 4 separate channels, 4 separate lines, 4 separate communication channels. This system, this wired intercom system, is based on XLR cable. Okay? 2 wires plus shield, classic XLR cable that we use in the audio industry. This would be the belt pack. This is the example of the personal belt pack that a user would have attached to his belt. Again, as I explained before, when using a wire-based intercom system, and this is the headset. Okay. These are the 3 main devices when setting up a cable-based intercom system. So before going ahead, I'm going to talk about just a few controls which are key for our systems. Okay. Basically, our systems, Altair systems, are based on a talk key, listen level, microphone kill, which is a function that lets the stage manager or the let's call it the organizer of the intercom system. This allows switching off all the microphones. The call button, which is what you use when you want to let your colleagues that you are calling that you want to communicate. Then the buzzer key, which activates, turns on and off the acoustic call in your device, no matter if it's a belt pack or a base station. and then the buzzer kill, which works in a way which is similar to the microphone kill. The stage manager or the organizer of the intercom system can decide when all the buzzers are going to be remotely switched off. So we're going to keep on explaining from the most simple to the most advanced some examples of wired or cable-based intercom system. In this case, we would have an intercom system for 3 users, cable-based. So basically, this would be the power supply. This red line would be XLR cable from the power supply to this belt pack, from this belt pack to the next one, and from this belt pack to the next one, and so on. So basically, with this simple configuration, we can create a line of, let's say, from 1 to 15 users. This would be the most affordable way to configure to set up a cable-based intercom system with Altair products. Okay, it's affordable, it's reliable. These products are built to last, and it poses a great option and a great tool to have for any company working in the events world. Okay, if you don't have enough money to go wireless, then the cable-based devices are a great option for you. Making things a little bit more complicated, we have the same but 2 channels. Okay, these are 2 party lines: channel A, which is one party line, and channel B, which is another party line. Okay, in this case, this is just a power supply. This cannot be used as a communication point, and users in channel B cannot talk to users in channel A. Okay, so we're going to advance to something a little bit more complicated. This is the power supply we have just been talking about, and going into the more complicated, we are going to change from this power supply to this base station. This is now a proper base station in which you can plug a headset so that you can use it as a communication point. As we see here, control panel of this base station, this user, the user which is located at the base station, can call channel A and he can call channel B. That means that he can talk to channel A and channel B. Okay, that's an advantage of being here at the base station. You can talk to both channels. On the contrary, if you are plugged with a belt pack via XLR cable to channel A, you will only be able to communicate to the users in channel A and to the user at the base station. Okay, the user at the station, again, he can talk to both channels A and B. Okay, so here we have the example. We have this base station. Here I haven't drawn the headset, but imagine that we have a headset connected here to the base station, and the operator can talk to channel A or to channel B, but the users in channel B can only talk between them and with the station, and so on with the users in channel A. Okay, this is the same example, but here you can see that I have drawn this headset for the operator at the base station. This user at the base station can talk to all users in channel A, he can talk to all users in channel B, okay? But the users in A can only talk to A, and the users in B can only talk to B. This would be an example, for example, of a party line system. Okay, this is a party line system again, but in this case, we have a mix of devices. We have belt packs and headset, and we have a remote station or desktop station, or whichever you want to call it. Basically, it's the same example, just a party line, one channel with several users and different devices. Now, I wanted to show you a couple good tools for you if you are working in noisy environments. Okay, for noisy environments, when you have your belt pack attached to the belt, sometimes you don't perceive, you don't hear the call, you don't hear the buzzer when being called, and that's why we have this device, which is a belt pack, a cable-based belt pack, but it comes with this big beacon, and when somebody's calling you, then you see this orange flashlight flashing in your face, and that lets you know that you are being called, and then you grab your headset and start communicating. Also, for noisy environments, we have this specific model of headset, which is more isolating. Okay, this is better to insulate yourself from the noise of the environment. So I wanted to highlight that accessories, in this case, accessories can improve or worsen your user experience drastically. For example, you buy a really expensive intercom system to work in live concerts and to communicate with your video, lights, sound guys, production guys, and suddenly you get to the place and the noise is so loud that you cannot see well, and that's because you did not choose properly the model of headset from the first moment. So it's interesting that when you request information or when you order an intercom system, it's important that you consult or that you ask about the available headsets which are compatible for your intercom system. Okay, that's a good advice that you should take. And now we are going to jump to wireless. Okay, we have just briefly explained cable-based systems. We have talked about two-channel stations for cable-based systems, but take into consideration that there are also base stations with up to 4 channels, okay, in case you need to have more separate teams, okay? So basically, wireless intercom systems, starting with the most easy, starting with the basic. Imagine that we only have a system consisting of 2 users, 2 wireless users. In this case, and just in this case, it would be enough with 2 bell packs. If we buy 2 bell packs of what we call the Extreme series, these are our most advanced bell packs. When using 2 of these bell packs, we can set up a 2 wireless users system, okay? But I insist, only this is the only setup that does not require a wireless base station. From now on, okay, we will see that we will be talking about base station, which will be always the center or the nucleus or whatever you want to call it of the system. Before that, just very fast, we have in our catalog, Altair catalog only has 4 different models of bell packs. And basically, the most used ones are this single channel Extreme series and this single channel Compact series. Okay, we also have dual channel bell packs, and later we'll see what they do, which are the advantages of using dual channel bell packs. But 90% of the cases you will be using single channel bell packs. But again, we will see it later. So WBS 200 HD. This is going to be of an Altair wireless system anytime that we want to have up to 4 wireless users. Over 4 wireless users, so from 5 to any, we will be using another model of base station, but we will talk about that later. So basically, we have the simplest example, which is 1 base station, which again is the center or the core of the system. We have 1 user connected to this station with his headset. This person cannot move as he is connected to the base station, and the base station is not designed to be mobile. It's just placed in one position and it's fixed. And then we have this wireless user. So this would be a 1 wireless user and 1 fixed user. And this would be the simplest, okay? Then moving on, we have the same example, but instead of having just 1 wireless user, we have 4 wireless users and 1 user at the station. All the wireless users should be in the range area to be communicating to the base station, which again is the core of the system. Now later we will be talking about range. And this would be an example of how you can order your system. This would be a great tool. This is just the perfect tool for you if you are working on events. You have just 4 wireless bell packs. You have 5 headsets, which would fit in the box. You just take this on the road. Whenever you want to use it, you just open it, plug it, press on, switch it on, working, good to go. Okay, this would be, I insist, a great option for you working on events. Then, if we want to use more than 4 wireless bell packs, we should jump and go to the next model of base station. Okay, this is WBS 202 HD. What's the difference? In this case, we have 2 channels, channel A and channel B. So this station lets the operator at the station make calls to channel A or to channel B. and he can talk and listen to channel A and B simultaneously. It's more or less the same that we saw when we were talking about the cable-based stations. But in this case, there are no cables. It's just wireless. Okay, but also this station is compatible to cable. So later we will see some examples on how to combine wireless devices and cable devices. So here, for example, the complete set, okay, the complete set of 8 wireless belt packs using this station as the center of the core. Here you see the WBS202 HD station with its 2 call buttons, channel A and channel B, and here we see that we have all the 8 belt packs, okay, all the 8 wireless belt packs. Also, this station features some really interesting possibility, which is that it can create 2 teams, channel A and channel B. Okay, this would be the call button for channel A, and this would be the call button for channel B. Okay, so we can have it like this: channel A, separate team; channel B, separate team, but in wireless. Okay, so all the members in channel B can talk between them and with this user at the station, and all the members in channel A can talk between them and with the user at the station. We can use it this way with separate channels, or we can use it this way. Okay, the base station offers you the possibility of choosing if you want to have all the 8 wireless users plus the user at the station in the same channel. In this case, we will have 9 users talking in the same communication channel. Okay, it's important that you know that the base station offers both options. And why did I place this cable belt pack here? Well, because I haven't been talking much about dual channel belt packs, and I want you to know that there are dual channel belt packs both in wireless and wired versions. Okay, so in case that you need a user with a belt pack, no matter if it's wireless or cable based, if you need him to be able to communicate with 2 channels, we have that covered. You can use it. Okay, so for example, let's say that you have a stage manager and he needs to be talking to audio guys and lighting guys, so he can do it with a dual channel belt pack. Okay, so going back to the example of the 8 wireless belt packs and the dual channel wireless station, we have this example. This is a real life example with a combination of different models of belt packs. And we have channel A with 4 users, channel B with 4 wireless users. But in this case, we are using the maximum of the capabilities of the system, and we have included 2 dual channel belt packs. So this user would be dual channel, and this user would be dual channel. So this means that this person, this member of channel B, can talk to all members in channel B, but also he can communicate with channel A, and it happens the same to this user. He is part of channel A, but he can also talk to channel B. Okay, that's the advantage of using dual channel belt packs. And talking about dual channel belt packs in cable-based systems, here you see a combination of a wireless station, but as I advanced before, it accepts or it can work with cable-based device. So in this case, we have this wireless station that has, let's say, 4 and 4 wireless belt packs in channel A and channel B respectively, but at the same time, it has 3 belt packs connected to channel A and 3 connected to channel B, being one of them a dual channel belt pack, which is connected to channel A and B at the same. Okay, I know that this is a little bit complex. I know that this is maybe too much for just a session, but I wanted to give you a lot of tools and a lot of knowledge in not much time, and it's complicated sometimes. So we are going to move on, and we are going to talk about the range. Okay, so how big is the area that our intercom systems can cover? Okay, so before going on with this, I want to say that sometimes, actually a lot of times, walkie-talkies, they have a bigger range, okay, than intercom systems, but they have this advantage, but they have some disadvantages that we have been talking about before. Okay, so usually walkie-talkies have a bigger range, and intercom systems have a more limited range, but in let's say the smaller range that the intercom system has, it offers way more powerful tools than the walkie-talkie system. Okay, so how big is our range? Okay, how big is the range of an Altair wireless intercom? So basically, placing the base station in the middle, okay, we can cover a radius of up to 300 meters. Okay, this would be an open field situation. Okay, like ideal situation, 300 meters radius, which means that we can have two users which are separated between them with a 600 meters straight line. Okay, this would be the diameter. Okay, so let's say that it can cover a 600 meters diameter with the base station in the middle. This is the range. And again, I insist, this is in ideal conditions. Of course, if you are working inside a building with several walls, that complicates things, and you should always try and see how the system works, but keeping in mind that we have special antennas that you can place to improve range. So there are always tools to improve the performance of your system, talking about range. But basically, this is the thing, up to 600 meters range. About the audio quality, well, here you see this is the wideband. Let's talk about it like this. This is the audio band that our previous system, that our old system featured. So before, our systems went from 300 hertz to 3 hertz. Okay, which right now nowadays it sounds a little bit narrow, but we have recently doubled the audio quality, and the audio quality of our devices goes now from 100 hertz to 7 kilohertz. That makes the voice sound way more natural. It has more body, it has way more low end, and of course it goes way higher, which gives this nice and bright shine to the voice. So in the end, if you are working 8 hours with the intercom system, it's really nice, and the comparison between both systems is really huge. So we are going to talk now about some combinations of mixed wired and wireless solutions. So in this case, although before I showed an example, here we have an example of 4 wireless belt packs. Okay, these are 4 wireless devices, and we have in the same team, in the same party line, we have 3 cable-based belt packs. Okay, this is a really complicated example that we are not going to explain. This is just to show that we can work also in TV sets with a mixed solution of a 4 channels cable system, and then we have a couple users who are going to be wireless, and even we can create a communication line with the TV hosts on the TV set. This is a very classic example that it's good that you know. This, for example, as this is a theater. Okay, drawing is based on a theater, on a real life example, but we could be talking about music festival. This could be FOH, and could be the stage. Usually, in this case, the most interesting thing is to place the base station on top of the stage, because usually this is the area in which the wireless users are going to be operating, and then we just send a line of XLR cable to the FOH, and here we placed cable-based belt pack or a station or whichever device that we consider. So this is a good example of how to combine wireless devices, cable-based devices to maximize range. You know, in this case, if we had any kind of problem with range, this is solved because we have a cable-based device. But anyway, this is more talking about a fixed installation and just to save money. Not that the range here would be a problem at all, because this example is pretty small. So here the range wouldn't be a problem at all, and this user could also be wireless. Talking about this, why it's also interesting to combine cable and wireless, because cable is way more cheap than wireless. So it's good to have wireless and cable-based belt packs and use a combination of them, because cable-based is way cheaper than wireless. Again, Another example that we are seeing here on the screen, just with a wireless base station with 2 wireless users, and then a couple of desktop stations connected to the wireless station cable. So what do I want to explain with this? I just want to explain that you can combine our devices, our wireless devices, and our cable-based devices, whichever way that fits your installation or your needs. It's just a matter of asking, and Modern Stage crew or ourselves, we can help you to find the best solution for your needs. Again, these are weird and complicated examples, but I just wanted to show you with this example these 2 cable-based stations, which are 4 channels. Okay, in this case, we would be having here in this core a system of up to 8 cable-based channels. Okay, then as you see, connected to different devices, to different lines of cable belt packs, to different desktop stations, and here in this case, in this channel B of this EF204 station, from this channel B, we would be connecting to a desktop station, but also to a line of 4 wireless belt packs. Okay, so as you see, we can achieve pretty complicated solutions with our systems. Again, more complicated solutions. I'm just not even going to stop in this one. And we're going to head into the final recommendations. Okay, these are not complicated, but just a couple of things that I consider you should keep in mind. So, brands compatibility. Sometimes it happens that you are working in a company and you have a couple pieces of belt packs from one brand, and then you buy another couple of pieces of another belt pack from a different brand, and you want to know if they're compatible. Okay, so wireless belt packs, wireless intercom systems are not compatible between them. Each brand uses its own proprietary protocol, and they are not compatible. So just forget about that. But cable belt packs, cable-based belt packs, usually all the professional brands that manufacture intercom systems, let's say that they follow a standardized protocol. And for example, if you want to mix our cable belt packs with an ASL system or with a ClearCom system that you own from previously, you can do it. For example, you own a ClearCom system, want to buy some Altair belt packs, it's okay. They will work fine. Okay, maybe there are just some small token volume differences, but they will work fine. So Sahil asked me to talk about interferences and jammers and tricky situations in which wireless will not work properly. And so I wanted to explain it briefly using this spectrum, okay? Just to let you where our products are, okay? This blue band is where our products are operating, from 1.88 gigahertz to 1.93 gigahertz. And this is a really good band because it's reserved from speech. It's reserved for just voice communication, okay? And here, when getting to this point, I want to read something that our main engineer prepared for me, which is really short and lets you know how our system works and why we chose this word. So, the frequency chosen by Altair wireless system is proprietary for voice operating devices only. This is so the interference is very unlikely to happen in high profile events. The band that we use is composed of 10 carriers from 1880 gigahertz to 1900 from 1.8 gigahertz from 1.9 gigahertz. That's where our products work, as you can see here in this example. I was just messing around. So our system operates in TDMA, which means that the same carrier frequency can carry up to 6 channels or belt packs. So basically, what we want to explain with this is that interference is very unlikely to happen, okay? And also that the frequency assigned is done automatically, which means that you do not need to go to the base station and select which belt packet is going to be occupying which specific frequency. The system does that automatically. Basically, it works like some kind of Bluetooth device. You just press one button in the base station, press another button in the belt pack, and they locate each other. Let's say that the belt pack is registered to the base station, and then the system stays like that, and you don't have to do anything else. And again, it's the system, the one which allocates the frequencies automatically. You don't have to do practically anything. So there is also no interferences with wireless microphones or with wireless in-ears or with DMX, because those are different frequencies. So here is where we are in the 1.88 to 1.93 gigahertz. Okay. Anyway, just do not get obsessed with these frequencies things. Just keep in mind that the band that we use is pretty clean and it's legal in India, and that's all you need to know. But talking about jammers, if the real thing is that if you are going to a high-profile event in which you are going to have members from the government and they are using a jammer, if the jammer they are using is targeting the frequency used by your system, you are done. You will not be able to use it. That's why if you are going to be working in this kind of events, it's good to have a backup system, which would be a call-based intercom system, also by Altair. Okay, it's good to have if you are going to be working or in charge of an event of these characteristics. It would be good that you have your wireless system, but that you have also a backup, which could be a cable-based intercom system or a walkie-talkie system, or both systems. Again, as I introduced before when we were starting with this session, walkie-talkie systems can be a good backup. They are not as professional or as reliable, and they do not offer all the functions, but they can be a backup just to get the thing done if you find this kind of problems, like a jammer. So basically, regarding interfaces and jammers, that's it. I don't want to get any deeper into this because it's a really wide conversation. And basically, you know that the frequency used by our systems is pretty clean in India, and only if you have some jammers, you will have a problem. But that's highly unlikely to happen, and I would say that's less than 1% of the situations. So just do not be obsessed thinking about it. So talking about interferences, I just wrote here, before choosing your system, check your local legislation regarding communications, but I'm already telling you that the frequency used by Altair systems is legal in India, so no problem. This is talking about the band that we used. This is the DECT band, which is called Digitally Enhanced Cordless Telecommunications, and what you see here is that it's usually a cleaner band, and that's why Altair selected this band to be our home, to put it this way. There are also intercom systems which are based upon Wi-Fi in 2.4 gigahertz, but this is of worldwide use, but this band is highly saturated, and that's why I do not recommend Wi-Fi based intercom system. Getting to the end of this session, we go with some general recommendations. Okay, first one is something that I always mention: just know your system and most of it. I have found some examples of users who have owned Altair devices for over 10 years and were using just like 20% or 15% of their capabilities. So my recommendation is that you read the manual, that you get to know your system properly, and that you make the most of it. Okay. Then going to the second point, proper maintenance. Proper maintenance is a key. Okay. If you don't want your systems to fail at the worst time, you just follow and keep a proper maintenance program to have them ready for when you need them. And when designing or choosing an intercom system, anticipate problems. Going back to what we were mentioning a couple seconds ago, if you know that you're going to work in an event in which you probably could find a jammer or which is going to be noisy, please always select the right model of headset for the environment in which you are going to be working. And if you anticipate that you are going to have some jammer issues, well, just deploy a secondary system, which could be a cable-based system. In mobile applications or specific events, prepare tools and or alternatives to be able to overcome any problem. This is related to this one. For example, if you are traveling around your country, deploying an event or in an itinerant music festival, you know that sometimes you can find problems with coverage. Well, just bring with you some different models of antennas that we have in our catalog to adapt the coverage or the range of your system as good as possible to your needs. So basically this means have tools so that you can fight problems when they appear. And the expert tip, as I said before, combine cable and wireless devices to make the most of your money. I insist, wireless devices are cool, are great, are really useful, and are sometimes mandatory for some specific tasks or for some specific people, but not for everyone. Giving a wireless belt pack to a person who's just standing mixing FOH during over 3 hours doesn't make any sense. Just give this guy cable belt pack and you will be saving a lot of money, and also you will save range issues, battery issues. So I insist, anytime that you can, you just give a cable-based belt pack and only reserve wireless belt packs for those professionals who really need them. Okay, that's my advice. And knowing that you can combine cable and wireless belt packs, I always would try to maximize the use of cable-based belt packs and only give wireless belt packs to those who really need them. And final tip, I have already anticipated this, but I will remind you again, always to choose the right model of headset. Okay, our belt packs, no matter if they are wireless or cable based, accept several models of headsets, from in-ear, almost invisible, really discreet models, to this classic big intercom headset which isolates you really well from the noise of the environment. So if you are going to work in a noisy environment, choose the model of headset which is going to be more isolating. Okay, so again, this recommendation: choose wisely your headsets because they can improve notably your user experience. Okay, so talking about this point, know your intercom system and make the most of it. This also applies to the accessories. For example, here I have drawn a basic example of how to place incorrectly an antenna. If you buy, for example, this antenna, which is in our catalog, and which you can see its action area in green. Let's say that this antenna covers the area in green and it's prepared to work in the same level in which the operators are working. So this is how it works, and this would be the right use of this antenna that you hear in the bottom, that you see here in the bottom. But I have seen people installing this on the ceiling, and here it doesn't do anything. So again, know your system, know your accessories, read the manuals, and basically be a pro. Know them for good, and be a proper technician and use them properly. Okay, that might sound basic, but I would also recommend this if we were just talking about audio. But you see here these crazy mesh cables. Well, with the intercom installation, when it's cable based, it's the same. So usually it's not that complicated because it's just a couple cables, a couple lines, a couple communication channels. It's never going to be this messy, but always cleaner the better. Okay, so the more time you take to install things properly, the more time you take to get your stage clear, it's going to be the better for you. And this also applies to intercom systems. Okay, and that's all, folks. I'm going to accept some questions and I will try to give you proper answers. I hope this hasn't been too long. I was speeding a little bit, but I wanted to cover a lot of issues, and I know it's difficult for you. I just couldn't do it shorter. Probably you have your brains on fire right now, but no problems. I will try to solve any question that you have.
Fran, first and foremost, I would like to thank you for that really insightful and informative session. And you said that a lot of questions are popping up within our family, our extended family. And one of the finest light designers in India, who's a very regular user of products, has a question. Lloyd says,
Okay.
Lloyd says, looking forward to a noise cancellation model, preferably wireless, active or passive noise cancellation. And
Yes.
if you could share some insight, would be delighted to hear that, Fran.
Okay, well, this is actually a really interesting question, because noise canceling headsets, they have been in the market for already a couple of years, and they are attracting a lot of interests from the professional users. So we are currently working with this brand, Bose. You probably know. This really high-end brand of speakers and headsets, which is called Bose Americans. And we are about to start a venture with them. We are about to start a collaboration with them, so that they will, let's say that on their noise canceling headsets will be working together. We have already run a couple tests in the lab, Bose headsets connected to our systems, and they work great because they have this active noise canceling device, which makes you, it's like almost like being in the space. Suddenly you have a terrible noise outside the headsets, you place them, you activate the noise canceling, and it's like being in in the space, not hearing anything. So I'm sure that he could enjoy this technology when we have it ready. Please just ask Sahil about this, and he will give you more information as I will give it to him.
Thank you, Fran. And I'll request our entire extended family who's attending the MSS webinar along with Altair Audio Systems. If you have any questions, ladies and gentlemen, please type in your questions in the chat box so I can read out your questions to Fran, and we can share more knowledge. We can gather more insight from Fran, who's an expert. And in the meanwhile, I would like to speak to Jindi sir, Sir Harjinder Jindi. His experience in the events business is probably more than my age, and he has seen the transformation, the transition of the way the industry in India has used intercom systems. So I'll request Jindi sir, if you can please come on screen, and yes, and I will take some technical help from the man who has been helping India technically. We have Sahil with us right here. Yes. Harjinder sir, will request you to please come on screen if you can. Yes. Jindi sir, Sat Sri Akal. And I'm going to unmute Jindi sir. So you have seen.
Yeah, now I'm unmute.
Yes, Jindi sir, can you hear us loud and clear?
Yeah, we can.
Yes, sir. So you've seen this transition of the use of this equipment of intercom systems.
Yes.
So when you started, sir, you are a pioneer of the industry. So when you started, sir, how do you see the way we have moved forward and the technology that we are using today, sir?
It's been quite a journey. It started in '96. So you see, it's been almost 24 years now. And yes, we were using talkies earlier. Then came the earpiece, and finally from the earpiece we moved on to clear comms and other stuff. We've been using phones also quite regularly. But the technologies have been coming in, and they will be improving, and that's innovation which keeps moving. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
It was nice to see so many visitors over here.
And we are still waiting for people to type questions. If you have any question, gentlemen, ladies, please feel free to ask Fran. He has been extremely kind to spare some time to share his insight and knowledge with all of us. The way we look forward to better shows, better quality in terms of yes, show running and the technical aspect. If you have any questions, please type in your question in the chat box. Yes, sir. So we have a question from Mandeep. Mandeep Singh is asking that Fran mentioned 2 hands are usable when using the intercom systems. So does it also work on auto audio detection or on always on mode? Fran.
Yeah, that's a good question also. Of course, yeah. He's right. We have no auto audio detection. Our systems do not work that way. Basically, it's true that in order to activate the microphone, whenever you want to talk, you need to manually go to the bell pack, reach the bell pack, and activate the microphone in order to speak. But how you use an intercom system usually the process is you are working and you are listening to the communication channel. So usually you are working with your hands and you are just listening. Okay, so actually that's not preventing you from use your both hands. And only when you need to say something, that's the only moment in which one of your hands will not be available, since you will have to go to your bell packs, to your bell pack, press a button, and that, or then the microphone key will be active, and now you can go back to using your both hands. You can always leave the microphone on, and in this case, you would be hands-free forever. But that's not recommended, for example, in very noisy environments, because the noise of the ambience will be getting through your microphone and would be shared into the communication line, making the communication line a little bit noisier. And if all the users do that, in the end, the communication line will be saturated. So yes, he's right. It's not a hands-free forever. It's hands-free as long as you are just listening. But when you have to activate the microphone, you have to manually reach the bell pack and press the on and off button. So it's a good question. I wish that in the future we have some sort of auto audio detection, as he explained, but by now we do not feature that. Actually, that would be possible by creating some sort of noise gate or something like that. And I know that there are devices for stage microphones which feature that function. So maybe in the future we will include it. One never knows.
Thank you, Fran. And another question that that just popped up is that how many devices can be connected with the wireless, and how many can be connected with the wired one?
Okay, so I will start with the cable-based. Using just one single cable-based station, you can have, let's say, up to 60 users. Okay, the problem is basically the power that the power supply in the unit can provide. So if you use good quality cables and shorter cable distances, shorter cable lengths, then the users can be even more than 60. But if you are going to use really long cables of, let's say, up to 200 meters, 300 meters, in this case, because there's a big loss of power through the cable, you will not be able to wear more than, say, 20 or 30. I'm just guessing here, but anytime you have this sort of doubt, this kind of doubts, you can drop us a line just with a simple drawing of the distances and the number of users that you want to to connect to the system, and we will tell you if it's possible or not. But to make it simple, let's say that our system can run over 50 users in cable. And the wireless system, we have two options. The, let's say, simplest station can work with up to 4 wireless users, and the bigger station can work with up to 8 wireless users. That would be the simple. 4, up to 4 or up to 8. And then if you need more than 8, we can link several wireless stations, and by doing that we can get network, to call it that way, of up to 24 wireless users. But basically, to make it simple, 4 or 8.
Oh, that simplifies a lot of things for us. Fran, once again, India's favorite designer, Lloyd, is asking a question which actually concerns my interest to a very, very strong extent. And he asked that, considering the global scenario as of now with COVID, how does Altair look at communication on online shows and virtual events, so that communication can happen between lights and sound and the show director, who are located around the world working on the same show?
Well, this is actually a really good question. As you said, basically this thing with the virus, I believe it caught us all a surprise. No one was ready for this, and we are trying to adapt to it as fast as possible. Basically, what we have been focusing on is to provide methods of cleaning and protecting our devices and sanitizing our devices so that their use is safer and better. And actually, intercom systems are a great tool to prevent contagion, because if I can talk to you via my intercom system and you are, let's say, 200 away, and we don't have to be in proximity, of course, by using intercom systems, we can fight the virus. But talking about remote production, which is what he's talking about, honestly, we haven't done anything related to that. We have had some conversations thinking about how we could enter that world, how we could enter the world of remote production, but until we have our new IP-based system, which is actually being developed right now, and it will be called the IPCOM. Until we have that, we will not be able to provide any solutions for remote production. When we have that, we can provide solutions for remote production, since you can be working from your house if you want. You just have an IP-based station, and you can be doing remote production with this sort of devices. But with the devices that we have currently in our catalog, we cannot offer alternatives for remote production. We're working on that, but right now it's not possible.
And this question also reminds me that all of us, in one way or the other, Fran, are experimenting with our own limitlessness in terms of technology and the way we use this platform, the way we think, the way we work together. We hope that this problem of COVID ends soon, and we get back to the normal, get back to the awesomeness that we spread. And since we don't have any more questions in the chat box, I would like to welcome on screen once again Director of Modern State Service, the torchbearer in India for Altair, and let's see what he has to say as his closing remarks.
Hi guys, thank you for watching the presentation, and Fran, thank you so much for this great presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed it and got to learn something from it. If you have any more questions regarding the sets, the prices, regarding more information on the wired and wireless systems, I'll post my details in the chat box, and you guys can get in touch with me anytime. Or you can just log on to our website, www.modernstateservice.in, and you can find most of the information there. Still, if you have any questions, I'm there to answer all of those. And thank you so much for your time, guys. And we'll be with Fran. We'll be probably hosting up one more webinar, which will be more detailed on the connections of the wired and wireless systems. So thank you, Fran, and thank you guys for this amazing webinar. and I hope you guys, learn something out of it. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much.
No problem. I just wanted to say one final thing, Sahil, if that's not a problem. This, as I said before, was a very introductory webinar, but I insist, if somebody wants his particular situation to be studied or to be treated, you can always count on my help to design the best solution for you, to look for what's good for your application. So please, if you have any need, just let us know, and we will try to find the best solution for your needs. Okay?
Great. Thank you, Fran. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks to all of you for watching, and see you soon.
See you. Thank you.